Hello ladies and gentlemen, Mars coming at you over the interwaves with another StarCraft 2 cast. This one sent in by members of the community. This one or this one. Hey, we have another Victor. How's that? Well, I say that, but I don't know if it's this guy or this guy that reported it. So we have a Victor Lau, and now we have a Victor... We have this guy, the blue turn, over at the bottom of the Vaani research station. It's Victor... I'm not Riz. I've been to Cuba. I know how you're supposed to pronounce this. I just can't. All right, his opponent likes to play around. Oh, look at that. Is that a... What is that? It's a rodent of some sort. I don't know. I can neither speak Spanish nor can I correctly identify rodents. And, oh, it's a stimpack sort of thing. Right, so one of these two players took this replay and sent it to castit.realplay.com. No, that's wrong. castit.reddit.com. If you'd like to have your replays cast, and do that. If, on the other hand, you like this, then send them to me personally. I am marshgaming@gmail.com. That is one word, marshgaming. If you are confused how to write that, then you're at my Twitch/YouTube channel, depending on if you're watching this live or recorded. And I'm sure somewhere on this page, you can find out how to bloody spell this. Alright. 2 gas. 1 gas. That is the difference right now. We've got Reaper here, Reaper there. Victor saving up his money to go for an expand into that natural right there. Where his opponent is going for the heavier tech route, and PlayAround is going to have to do some damage in order to make sure that economic deficit he gets from not getting that second base up sooner than his opponent is counteracted. So we'll see what he decides to do there. I am not a Terran player, which means that I still don't know what the exact timings are here, but maybe going for some droppage, or may go for some Hellions. And with this wall, I'm going to guess he's not going to go for the Hellions. Alright, now Victor's factory isn't that far removed. Building it now. It's got the second gas as well. And, oh, we did miss a little bit of the thing. And gets the complete scout off. So there's a starport, and gets on out of there as well. Very important, keeping that Reaper alive gives you so much information. Oh, and going for a Cyclone first. Alright, so I wonder what he's planning on doing here. We've got a bunch of Marines coming on out there. We're going to get the first flying unit, and we've got a lot of gas. So, what are you building there? Oh, it is a medevac. Okay. So maybe going to go for a drop, or maybe just making sure that you have that high ground vision. The new Cyclone, and I say new, but by now it's been around a little while. Very different from the previous version. Oh, and Victor is going to try and bypass his opponent's Reaper block and sees everything that's going to go down here. Sees that tech lab, which tells him exactly what he needs to know, which is probably that his opponent is going to switch that starport around on it. What are you doing? Come on, make me look smart. Make me look a smart non-Terran player. Oh. Alright, what are you going to do with this tech lab? Oh, apparently nothing. So, in order to defend this, there is now finally that second base coming up, and that does mean that Victorruiz is quite ahead when it comes to the income. Yes, we have the same amount of workers, but there are 2 mules to 1 for Victor. And there is that drop, and it's just a Marine, so we have no Cyclone in there. We're not building anything else. Oh, we are just going to be building tanks. Alright, well that's fair. And I didn't see whether he did get that scout off, and that is a nicely positioned Viking right there. You don't want to scout there, because by now there's stuff that shoots up. He does pull that back. Alright, that is very nicely defended. 0 damage done to Victor right there. And now we're in for a PlayAround has to catch up. Victorruiz has got that second base down. It's an orbital command. He's building 2 SCVs at the same time. And his opponent is not even building the one. And only has the... doesn't even have a fully operational command center. And now we finally do have that. He's going to have to build it, transform it into an orbital command first. Still not going to build those 2 SCVs at the same time. So yeah, Victor, very comfortable position, so much so that he's building a 3rd command center. Now this map, if you can hold off the drops with that sort of in pocket natural, does lead itself to you know, defending that early span quite easily, and this Liberator is not going to get too much done. Yeah. This guy has a movement speed of 442, and this guy is not giving chase and is actually slower, so there would have been no chance of him to go away. Now, PlayAround does not have the Zelnaga Tower. That is unfortunate. So he's not going to see this coming. Oh! How is this in range and that not? Alright, cool. He's not going to decide to engage that. Just going to wait for reinforcement and now take out that Reaper. There you go. And now we have the economic advantage in favor of Victor. We have a map vision. Well, we have nothing here, so you know everything on that side. Also, you can easily skip down here. There, we've got a very, very tiny poke coming in for Victorruiz, but that really shouldn't do too much, except that maybe it tells him that there's no 3rd base down. And only really in the way of upgrades does PlayAround have the advantage right there. The stim is further along, and the 1st upgrade in attack is being done as well. And where I forgot how to do this. There you go. Structures. Do we even have an engineering bay down here? No, we do not. So that is where PlayAround has his advantage, and that's where he's going to have to get this win from, because in every other way right now he's behind. But this is PvP, TvT, and this is also very much about tank numbers. Now both of these are similar, the same as a matter of fact, but if you get those tanks in position, they're so hard to get rid of. If you get these in the right position, if you siege up here before your opponent can siege up here, then this is your playground. If you can land them here, now especially if you get them inside of there, then this base is pretty much forfeit. So yes, he does he is behind, but there's no reason that he still can't take this game. Putting in some defense to that drop, and this is how Victor deals with it on his own. Doesn't build his own missile turrets, and with this 3rd base done, going to take that 3rd base. So we're going to go into a little bit of a slower thing. PlayAround knows he's behind and very slowly make sure that he stays with. Oh, and this Marine is going to see when this comes down, and PlayAround is not staying there to, you know, take that 3rd. No, he's going to take the 3rd on the back of aggression, and that is going to get spotted by this. So that means that these units, and especially maybe this tank, can reposition over here and make sure that he's in a position to warmly welcome PlayAround. Oh, look at that. I'm standing here. And that gets spotted right there, so he knows that his opponent's in a defensive position. Nice tag line there. May use put these 2 forward just a little bit. And oh, yes sir, Sergeant. I will be the one to scout the opponent. Yeah, that's not the best thing. This guy did spot this, so that is good. But yeah, there you go. And Victorruiz does know exactly where his opponent is with that sensor tower. Also some missile turrets in place just in case. So ways of dealing with siege tanks. Well, first of all, it's nice to have air control, which he does. He does have more Vikings to his opponent. So you have the vision. These guys can shoot further than they can see. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, his opponent's going back, so that's just fine. So if you have air control, that means you can just keep shelling, whereas your opponent needs to dedicate scans to it. And that is very useful. And if you do have air control, you know, a Banshee or one or two can actually take this down without you being able to do overly much against it. So that's where that missile turret comes into play as well. Alright. 10 minutes into the game. And I think maybe Victor gave his opponent a little bit too much room to get back into this game, because right now 63 to 69, the upgrades still ahead. The army supply in favor of Victorruiz, but you know, if we look at the way it's built up, oh wow, that's a lot of Marines actually. That is so many Marines. A fourth base coming down for a PlayAround. So PlayAround making sure that that gold base hasn't been taken yet. Oh, these are two very closely. All right. Those are actually within the same screen. Alright, and Victor is going to go for this fourth base. Going to go and sneak forward just a little bit, and if we look at the upgrades, we see that PlayAround actually has the upgrade advantage there as well. His Vikings will do more damage than his opponent. Let's see how much that is. 10 to 4. Wait, are these armored? These are armored, so 14 counts. And these ones do... Wait, what? Didn't I see upgrades there? Oh, sorry, those are tanks. They're no longer the same thing there. And this move out gets spotted just fine. Is he going to be able to get position though? Those are a lot of Marines, and they will get underneath that command center. Not going to take that out because the PlayAround's tanks also get into position, and now we have these two tank lines, and we have a lot. PlayAround deciding to send his melee units, send his bio units in range of Victor's tanks, whereas Victor says like, yeah, no, you fight over here, that's fine. Alright, landing those Vikings on top of the siege tanks, which cannot shoot within 1 or 2 units of distance within themselves, meaning that they have to unsiege. Bio stims on in there, and now we've got 2 more tanks, and that's pretty much everything. Well, that's going to live though. He's going to live, he's going to live. Yes, does move that back. Now this one does get shelled quite a bit, so that original 5th base, this was initially, does get cancelled, because that 4th base did not get taken down. Did manage to get away, so that 4th base is still there. Alright. Oh, no, you don't do that. Look, don't move beyond there. And Victorruiz decides to get on out of there. 3 tanks and a whole bunch of Marines. Does not a self-contained make, and he doesn't. Oh, yep, he does. He does. This one's being taken back, but decides not to do anything about it quite yet. 5 tanks, but only 3 here. I'm assuming he still has 1 there. No, he does not. And this 4th is just now being taken. Once again, sieging up right here, and should be able to cancel this planetary fortress. But PlayAround coming in from the side, and no, Victorruiz is going to have the superior bio numbers, and is things on in to get on top of those tanks. But the reinforcements are there on the side of PlayAround. Is he going to get those 2 tanks siege? Yes, he is. But there's 3 tank siege for Victorruiz, which is not in range. Oh, and playing a little game of who has the closest reinforcements. Oh, and here is a whole bunch of bio coming in for PlayAround, and there's no bio for Victor to defend it, which apparently is not very relevant. So that's fine. Alright. Victor is in range of that planetary fortress with that siege tank. Now there is 2 SCVs diligently repairing it, and this Stimming should actually clean this up, and yes it does. Yes it does. Oh, and here are the reinforcements on Victor's side, but with no tanks left, he decides to get on out of there. Alright, that was a nice bit of action right there. Holy crap, that is an oversaturated 4th base. Look at all those SCVs. Could 1 or 2 of you stay here? No, that wouldn't be very useful. How about here? Also no, because we actually flew over there. So right now, not too much income. which is this one for Victorruiz, but that should be remedied momentarily. Especially if you move some of these away. Bloody hell. Maybe move them over here? And how many do you have? 12. Alright. If you're going to have this many SCVs, you might as well build another command center there. 3-3 on the way for both players, but PlayAround has been very diligent about, well, very diligent. He's getting that second tank upgrade as well, whereas this guy still not doing so much. 15 and 25, that's in this one, this mode. In the siege mode, of course, there is a little bit of a difference there. We don't just go from, what is that? Nope. We don't just go from 15 to 44. That's not how this works. There is actually a difference between siege mode and a non-siege mode damage. Alright, so what have we got in the production? Well, we've got 3 Sage tanks, that one being produced by Victor and 2 by his opponent. So a little bit more quantity on the side of Victor versus the quality of PlayAround. And loads and loads and loads of Marines. Well, more by PlayAround, to be perfectly honest. Victor, oh, there we go. Building a few more and getting a couple of Marauders in there. Now, Marauders, of course, do just stay alive a little bit longer than those Marines when it comes to being shelled by tanks. And that is a very nice stim in there. There is no siege up by PlayAround, and now there is with the siege up. Oh shit! Oh, that was a very nice jump of Victorruiz, and then he's outstayed his welcome just a little bit too long. If you could have gotten on top of those siege tank, that really would have worked very well. And now we have PlayAround going to try and outmaneuver his opponent. Oh, and now we see what the advantage of the 34 SCVs as they do come forth and buffer all the shots of those Marines. Now they're gone and there's nothing left up. No, we do have a little bit of fire right there. And this is that air control I was talking about. Let's see whether PlayAround can do a better job of killing command centers than his opponent. He does take that out. Ooh boy, do I want to see what this does. 46 workers killed versus 23, and this is not looking good for Victor. 7 tanks remaining on the side of PlayAround and 1 on the side of his opponent. Now, does he know that this base has been taken? Yes, one of those scans that went off in the middle of all that did spot this was there, and PlayAround is going to just move in there, and Victorruiz is in no position to defend this. Completely taken out of position. May get a Viking just by sheer luck. Oh, going to try and evacuate those SCVs, but not actually far enough. And yep, whips tanks in position. There really isn't. Oh, Victorruiz is going for the flank, but that is a very deep siege line, and I don't think he's actually going to be able to take care of that. GG! PlayAround takes the game. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button. If you'd like to see more of me, subscribe.